American Timelines is a member of the Queen City Podcast Network, powered by Ortho Carolina. Find out more at queencitypodcastnetwork.com.
So now I'm obsessed with time. Come on, tell me about the time. Had it all in my hand tonight. Had the time.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, rock and rollers across the world, you are now listening to the baddest ass motherfucking podcast in the world. The most powerful, the coolest, the greatest, the sexiest podcast
No, we're not.
in the world.
No, we're not doing that.
Okay, just a mediocre podcast. Basically, you should probably listen to some other podcast.
Yeah. That's
Welcome to American Timelines by History for Jerks.
I'm Amy. And that's Joe.
And I'm
I forgot.
and I'm Moon Unit Zappa's biggest fan, Mark Flangelstein.
All right.
Virgin.
That didn't go. It still didn't go well. So
No, it was perfect.
we'll move on.
Where's my mouse? Where's my mouse?
Oh, Jesus Christ.
I'll try it mouse free.
That's not going to work.
Why not? Who needs a mouse?
All right.
It's a touch screen, for God's sakes.
All right. So
We're gonna wing it.
tonight we are
wing
talking
it.
about. We're still in 1968.
We are, and I'm not even using a mouse. That's how crazy we are. Like sometimes we don't even use mice for our computers.
All right.
We're a daring, crazy podcast. We're out there. We're out there.
All right. What's the first?
Happy Mother's Day. Today we're recording this on Mother's Day
that's right.
2020, and Amy is a wonderful mother, a beautiful, wonderful mother.
A bad mamma jamma, would you say?
You're a bad mama jamma. Yep. She rules these kids with an iron fist.
All right.
They're
So
afraid of her.
moving on.
They appreciate her.
Moving on.
Moving on, we're in 1968, and we're going to continue our podcast. What we do is we go chronologically through the year, and we talk about interesting things, crazy things, maybe things that would go viral or that would be notable on the internets or on Twitter, if there was a Twitter back then, which there wasn't. And then Amy will talk about a horrible rape, awful murder story that nobody wants to hear because it makes them sad. And then she'll go in depth into it, and then I might tell you what was on TV during that. That's how we do it. Don't ask us why we do that. If you don't like it, shut it off. You know, nobody's making you listen to this podcast. But if you do like it, thank you, Lori Vance.
That's right.
Thank you. Oh, there's somebody else recently I just remembered in the middle of the night that told me they were listening. And no, who was that? I can't remember. I think they're way behind, so
they won't see it in a while. Anyway,
there's somebody cool that I was like, thanks for listening. You didn't even say anything. I can't remember who it was. Dang it.
okay.
I'll remember at some point.
Yep.
Anyway, we're in June of 1968. And on Saturday, June 1st, 1968, Simon and Garfunkel took over the Billboard charts with the number one song.
Was
Do you have
it
any guess what it is?
Bridge Over Troubled Water?
Nope.
Did we already
A little
did
bit
that one?
faster of a song.
Cecilia?
Remember what movie came out?
Oh, Mrs. Robinson.
Yes. Cuckoo, cuckoo, Mrs. Robinson.
Jesus loves you more than you will know.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. And I think,
I love that
didn't
song.
somebody do like a punk rock version?
That whole
of it?
album is awesome.
Yeah. And a little known fact, Simon actually murdered Garfunkel during the recording of that
didn't
song.
happen.
And then they cloned him with DNA later. So the Garfunkel you know is a clone.
That did not happen.
Well, you prove it. Prove it didn't happen.
I can't. You can't prove something didn't happen.
You didn't do any research on that, huh?
No.
Okay, that's not true. I didn't even look up any information about this since we can't play music anymore because we were threatened with a lawsuit.
That's like those people that say, "Well, prove it. Conspiracy didn't happen."
Yeah, I know. I was just kind of kidding. I was being like a jokester.
Obtuse.
Like remember when?
You're being obtuse.
Yeah, like remember when Stephen Colbert had a show, The Colbert Report,
Yes.
and he played kind of a character.
Yes.
He wasn't really a crazy right wing, not like
Right.
Bill
I get
O'Reilly.
it.
He was playing a character.
Okay.
So I kind of, that's kind of what I do on this podcast. I'm not really this much of an a-hole.
All right, why are we talking? What are we talking about?
Because I wanted to gear
Graduate.
up. I wanted to like really rest up before I gear up for this next story. It's pretty big.
All right.
And this is one I insisted you should cover, and you refused. You punched me in the face and refused. You said it's Mother's Day. I don't have to do anything you say. So this is kind of a longer one. Okay. So bear with me. I'm not the murder crime storyteller you are.
Right.
I'm not good looking.
Well, you're very cute.
I don't keep up with my hygiene necessarily.
Yeah,
I'm not attractive.
Right.
I don't brush my teeth or clip my toenails.
Oh, it's disgusting.
I sometimes go to the bathroom in the bed. But I'm not as good as you is what I'm saying. So bear with me, okay?
Okay.
On Monday, June 3rd, 1968, did you know that radical feminist Valerie Solanas, have you ever heard of her?
No.
She was a radical feminist that had written a manifesto called the Scum Manifesto.
Oh.
Have you heard of this?
I think, yeah.
It was a radical feminist manifesto published in 1967 and argues that men have ruined the world and that it's up to women to fix it, which is, I agree with that. But to achieve this goal, I don't know if I agree with this, it suggests the formation of Scum, an organization dedicated to overthrowing society and eliminating the male sex.
Yeah.
The manifesto is based on philosophical and social concerns. It's been reprinted at least 100 times in English, translated into 13 languages, and excerpted several times. The term scum appears on the cover of the first edition of Olympia Press as SCUM and was said to stand for Society for Cutting Up Men. I'm not exactly sure if that she denied that at one point. I don't know. Anyway, this radical feminist who wrote this, Valerie Solanas, shot and wounded Andy Warhol.
Yeah.
And two others at his New York City studio, The Factory, in 1968.
That's wild.
Yeah, so I dug into this a little bit to be like, well, I didn't know Andy Warhol ever got shot. Did you? Were you aware that he got shot?
I didn't.
And so, like, and he lived the rest of his life. Like, this really affected me. He had trouble swallowing. And he was different and paranoid ever since. Which I bet our parents, like we've talked about many things, they probably remember. They probably remember this because it was all over the news and all the tabloids for a while. So let's get into this a little bit. In her 2014 biography, Valerie Solanas is the name of the biography. Brianna Foz records. She wrote it. Solanas, after pitching her play, she had written a play that she was pitching to other people, like trying to get people to produce her play and give her money. After that, she traveled to producer Margot Feiden's residence, then known as Margot Eden, in Crown Heights, Brooklyn, as Solanas believed that Feiden would be willing to produce her play. She talked to her for almost 4 hours, trying to convince her to produce the play and discussing her vision of a world without men. Throughout this time, Feiden repeatedly refused to produce her play. But according to Feiden, Solanas then pulled out her gun. And when Feiden again refused to commit to producing the play, Solanas responded, "Yes, you will produce my play because I will shoot Andy Warhol and that will make me famous and the play famous and then you'll produce it."
Oh my gosh.
And then so in her book, Foz describes how Feiden then frantically called her local police precinct. It was like, oh, she's going to go shoot. She left like right there and was going to go shoot Andy Warhol. And they're like, come on, you can't arrest somebody for something they're gonna do, you know. You can't. And they were like kind of like condescending to him, like, oh, you guys don't know what you're talking about. So later that day, Solanas arrived at the factory and waited outside. Film director Paul Morrissey, who was a friend and hung out at the factory all the time of Andy Warhol, arrived and asked her what she was doing there, and she replied, "I'm waiting for Andy to get money." Morrissey tried to get rid of her by telling her that Warhol was not coming in that day, but she told him she would wait. At 2 p.m., she went up into the studio, and Morrissey told her again, "Warhol's not coming in today. You have to leave." And she left, but she rode the elevator in the building up and down until all day until Andy Warhol finally boarded it.
Oh man!
So she entered the factory with Warhol, who complimented her on her appearance, as she was uncharacteristically wearing makeup. Morrissey told her to leave, threatening to beat the hell out of her and throw her out otherwise. Then the phone rang, and Warhol answered while Morrissey went to the bathroom.
He told her to leave, and then he just went to the bathroom?
It sounds like it happened real fast. It was like, get out of here. I'm going to throw you out the window if you don't leave. Oh, crap. I got to shit.
No.
Phones ringing all at the same time. Like,
Okay.
get out of here. I'm going to the bathroom. You better be gone, probably is what he said. I got to poop. And then when I'm done.
Say that.
He probably had to poop. I have diarrhea. Everyone had diarrhea back then.
All right.
And then the phone rang. Andy Warhol went to get it. While Warhol was on the phone, Solanas fired at him 3 times. Her first 2 shots missed, but the third went through both lungs, his spleen,
Oh, my God.
stomach, liver, and esophagus.
Oh, Jesus.
I can't figure out how that's possible.
How was he not dead?
How could it go through both lungs, your spleen, your stomach, your liver, and your esophagus? Like, where was she shooting from?
I guess bullets can do crazy shit, though.
Like they're just ricocheting or something?
I don't know, but I've always heard that bullets can do really wacky shit.
That doesn't make sense to me how that could...
I know.
Unless she shot up his a-hole. I don't know. Anyway, it doesn't say she shot up his a-hole.
No.
But she then shot art critic Mario Amaya in the hip, and she tried to shoot Fred Hughes, Warhol's manager, in the head, but her gun jammed. Hughes asked her to leave, which she did, leaving behind a paper bag with her address book on a table. Warhol was taken to Columbus Mother Cabrini Hospital, where he underwent a successful 5-hour operation.
Oh, my God.
Can you believe that? Later that day, Solanas turned herself in, gave up her gun, and confessed to the shooting, telling a police officer that Warhol had too much control of my life. She was fingerprinted and charged with felonious assault, possession of a deadly weapon. The next morning, the New York Daily News ran the front page headline, "Actress Shoots Andy Warhol," and she demanded a retraction of that statement, as she was not an actress. She said, please change that headline to writer. I'm a writer, not an actress. Yeah. So she was very mad at that. At her arraignment in Manhattan Criminal Court, she denied shooting Warhol because he wouldn't produce her play, but it said it was for the opposite reason, that he has a legal claim on my works. Solanas told the judge that it's not often that I shoot somebody. I didn't do it for nothing. Warhol had tied me up, lock, stock, and barrel. He was going to do something to me which would have ruined me. She told the judge she wanted to represent herself, and she declared that she was right in what I did. I have nothing to regret. The judge struck her comments from the court record and had her admitted to Bellevue Hospital for psychiatric observation.
So did she and Andy Warhol know each other before she...
Oh, that's a good question. I think so. Yeah, because she walked in with him and everything. Yeah, so they knew each other.
Okay.
I don't think that's true about him owning her or anything like that.
Right.
Just says she met him in the mid '60s and she asked him to produce her play Up Your Ass. She went to state prison and they discovered she had schizophrenia and stuff later. Yeah, she was diagnosed with chronic paranoid schizophrenia. And she was finally deemed fit to stand trial in January of 1969. She represented herself without an attorney and pleaded guilty to reckless assault with intent to harm, sentenced to 3 years in prison with 1 year of time served. After the murder attempt, the shooting of Warhol propelled Solanas into public spotlight, prompting a flurry of commentary and opinions in the media. Yeah, and they all talked about, it's kind of like made people think, oh, is feminism violent and destructive and everything?
Oh,
and all
sure.
Kind of stuff
They
like
blamed
that.
it on feminism, probably.
Yeah. And then there were some feminists that thought she was a hero, and then other ones that denounced what she did, But some of them went and visited her in prison and got her manifesto and were trying to follow it, and branched out and stuff.
Jeez.
But after she was released from the New York State Prison for Women in 1971, she stalked Warhol and others over the telephone and was arrested again in November of 1971, and she was subsequently institutionalized several times and then drifted into obscurity. She ended up dying in a motel in San Francisco.
Oh, my
homeless
God.
And stuff.
Yeah.
The attack had a profound impact on Warhol and his art, and security at the factory scene became much stronger afterward. For the rest of his life, Warhol lived in fear that Solanas would attack him again.
I bet, because she was in and out of facilities.
Yeah, according to close friend and collaborator Billy Name, he was so sensitized you couldn't put your hand on him without him jumping.
Poor guy.
Andy Warhol, he had been declared dead in the emergency room and had 9 damaged organs, they said. He never fully recovered and had trouble eating and swallowing for the rest of his life. He wore a girdle to hold in his bowels.
Oh.
According to Wikipedia.
God, that poor guy.
Or popculture.us said that. That's where I got that part. Anyway, yeah.
Wow.
That nuts?
Yeah, that's
crazy ride, right? That's right to start off American Timelines. That's what we do here at American Timelines.
That's a pretty good story.
Jump into some cool, crazy stories you never heard about.
Yeah.
You know who Andy Warhol is. You might not have known that. Boom. You're welcome. June 4th, 1968, U.S. Senator Robert F. Kennedy of New York narrowly defeated Senator Eugene McCarthy of Minnesota to win all 172 delegates in California's Democratic presidential primary.
Yes.
The results would not be confirmed until after midnight, as CBS News projected that he would be the winner. The result was described as a major boost in its nomination race against the man he sees as the real opponent, Vice President Hubert H. Humphrey.
Mm-hmm.
Lyndon B. Johnson joked about the primary in remarks during a state dinner at the White House and said, "We might pick up some tremors later tonight from a disturbance out in California." And then June 5th, the next day, Senator Robert F. Kennedy was assassinated.
Yep.
You know who killed him?
Sirhan.
Yes. I've always wondered why that guy has got
2 first names.
Well, his name is Sirhan Bashara Sirhan, right?
Yeah, I have no idea how that works.
What do you know about that guy? That murder or anything? Like, is he like a known murderer in the
no,
murder
I
true
think he
crime
was
world?
a Palestinian, I think.
Well, here's all that I have. I don't have a lot on it. I just took some bullet points from Wikipedia. Moments after thanking supporters for his win in the California primary, Senator Robert F. Kennedy was shot and fatally wounded while walking through a corridor at the Ambassador Hotel in L.A. After the 12:20 a.m. shooting, police arrested Sirhan, a citizen of Jordan, who had been a U.S. resident for 12 years. Kennedy was rushed to Central Receiving Hospital, where doctors worked on trying to save his life, and then transferred to the hospital. And then they transferred him to the Hospital of the Good Samaritan for surgery. A team of 6 surgeons began operating at 3:12 a.m. after X-rays showed that bullet fragments had penetrated his brainstem, and finished at 6:52 a.m. Kennedy never regained consciousness. Although he had been facing Sirhan when the shots were fired, the 3 bullets that hit him traveled back to front, wounding him in the neck, the shoulder, and his head.
Yeah, more crazy bullets.
Again, how is that possible?
Yeah.
That makes me just think it's a conspiracy, right? Is there a conspiracy theories about him or not?
I don't think so.
5 other people were wounded in addition to Kennedy and required hospitalization. ABC News reporter William Weisel, Union official Paul Schrade, radio reporter Ira Goldstein, and 2 campaign volunteers, Elizabeth Evans and teenage volunteer Erwin Stroll. 50 years later, as Sirhan began his 51st year in prison, Schrade and the senator's son Robert F. Kennedy Jr. would both express their belief that Sirhan had not been the gunman. So there is.
So there must be.
See, I think the government killed both of them. But I can't put that on this podcast. Then they're going to shoot me.
Yeah.
I think Chef Boyardee did it.
Chef Boyardee.
Yeah, he was mad about Burger Time. He knew somebody was going to develop a game called Burger Time.
Yeah. That could be, babe. You might have something there.
That same day that RFK was getting killed, CIA test pilot Jack Weeks disappeared while conducting the last test of the Lockheed A-12 supersonic reconnaissance jet during the CIA's Oxcart program. The A-12s were already scheduled for retirement when Weeks departed from USAF Kadena Air Base in Japan, and 41 minutes later, the onboard telemetry system signaled that an engine was overheating, followed by a drop of fuel flow and a rapid decrease in altitude. Weeks' last known position had been over the Philippine Sea.
Wow.
520 miles east of Manila. No trace of the wreckage would be located.
Crazy.
That's crazy to me, that there's just
Disappear.
people and airplanes just somewhere
Disappear.
underwater, and
Yeah.
nobody's ever found them. Did you know that
It's part of the vastness of the ocean. Like, to me, the ocean is terrifying.
Yeah.
Kind of like, I feel
It's
like
like space.
Yeah, it's like outer
Which
space.
is worse, the ocean or space?
For me,
Yeah.
space. Space is worse for me.
You know what? The space is definitely
Because
bigger.
you feel like you're falling more in space.
How do you know? Space is definitely bigger than the ocean. I know that.
I mean, I know
much.
there's no gravity, so you wouldn't be falling. You feel like you can't hold on to it. To me, that is terrifying.
I don't think you feel like you're falling. You're just floating, right? Aren't
yeah,
you?
but with nothing around you, to me, that my brain would
you'd be dead. I mean, you wouldn't survive.
It would be terrifying.
Space is bigger than the ocean. I know that.
Yeah, that's true.
That's true.
But the ocean is just so
The ocean has
big.
fish in it.
So fucking
And mermaids. But a mermaid could show up in the ocean.
big. No, sharks is what I'm thinking.
Sharks could show up, but a hot mermaid might be like, hey, baby. I want to make love.
All right, what's
in
next?
Atlantis. How would you make love to a mermaid?
What is next?
Anyway, one more thing about Robert Kennedy.
Okay.
I don't know if you're aware that he was assassinated the exact same week that the Rolling Stones were recording Sympathy for the Devil. Mm-hmm. The original lyrics were, I shouted out who killed Kennedy, but Jagger changed it to, I shouted out who killed the Kennedys.
Oh.
Because that same week, another Kennedy got killed.
Another Kennedy got
Isn't
killed.
that a funny little random
Yeah.
trivia? Yeah, so Thursday, June 6th, RFK was pronounced dead at the Good Samaritan Hospital in L.A. Saturday, June 8th, at 11:15 in the morning local time, James Earl Ray was arrested at Heathrow Airport in London for the assassination of Martin Luther King, which you talked about. And the same day that was happening, the funeral of Robert F. Kennedy took place in D.C. 2 days after his death, after which he was buried in Arlington National Cemetery adjacent to the grave of his brother, JFK. The last surviving brother, Edward M. Kennedy, gave the eulogy.
Old Teddy.
Dead. Mm-hmm. Nobody ever tried to shoot him.
Nope.
And then or maybe they did.
Yeah, they could. Maybe.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe
Who knows?
people did. Tuesday, maybe he just wasn't as.
He wasn't as
People weren't as
revolutionary.
excited, yeah.
I think he was easier to kind of swindle people with, or what am I trying to say? He was like easier to corrupt. That's what I'm trying to say.
With money.
Yeah.
Tuesday, June 11th, 1968, 4 inmates of the federal penitentiary in Atlanta, a murderer and 3 bank robbers, seized control of the administration building and took 25 employees hostage.
That's pretty cool.
18 men and 7 women, after failing in an escape attempt. 2 of the women and a man were released later after prison officials agreed to the publication of the inmates' list of 9 grievances in the Atlanta Journal. The hostages were released unharmed. 3 hours after the inmates surrendered, the FBI announced the arrest of a girlfriend of one of the prisoners and charged her with having smuggled in 2 pistols, 50 rounds of ammunition for each gun, and 4 hacksaw blades.
Oh, well, there we go.
Yep. And I looked everywhere. I tried to find out, like, the story and more about it and what their grievances were, and I couldn't find anything. Like, I had to purchase things to get anything. So I was like, I'm not buying subscriptions to newspapers in Atlanta.
Right.
Pittsburgh.
That's the hard part.
It's the hard part when you're broke. Wednesday, June 12th, the controversial film Rosemary's Baby, directed by Roman Polanski and starring Mia Farrow, premiered in the United States.
Did I ever make you watch that one?
Yes, you did. And the film was an inductee of the 2014 National Film Registry list.
You like that one?
I can't remember why was it controversial? I can't remember.
The devil gets her pregnant.
Oh, God.
And there's like a scene where she's like in and out of consciousness and the devil's like on top of her. And
it's like there's not something there. It's just like.
Well, it's like you see her eyes opening and closing at the camera, like is her eyes, and you just see flashes of stuff, and then she has the baby, and it's like they all pray to the devil.
Apparently, I must not have cared too much about it.
I don't think you saw it.
Yeah, you made me watch it. I know it was black and white.
No, it's not black and white.
Rosemary's got short hair.
Yeah,
short blonde
short hair, but it's not black and white.
Seems dumb to me. No, I don't know. I probably pretended to like it so you would like me. Sorry, we've been married now.
I think it was like 10 years ago that you saw it. So I don't know why you would.
It was like the day you met me. You're like, I'm sorry, we can't date unless you like Rosemary's Baby. No, that is not
what happened.
And, hey, you pretended to like football, so.
I did.
You pretended to care about it.
I did.
Can't believe it.
I loved you.
You fleeced me. It was bait and switch, babe.
No.
Bait and switch.
There's no bait and switch.
I pretend to like Rosemary's Baby. You pretend to like football. We're equal. We're even.
All right. What's next?
Thursday, June 13th, 1968, Earl Warren, the Chief Justice of the United States Supreme Court, met with U.S. President Lyndon B. Johnson and announced his intention to retire so that Johnson could appoint a successor and so the Republicans couldn't, in case they lose the election.
Okay.
Warren was 77, and after the assassination of RFK, he believed that now the Republican Party nominee might win the presidential election. So Warren's strategy would fail, though, after Johnson's nomination of Associate Justice Abe Fortas as the next Chief Justice failed because he did poorly in the confirmation hearings before the U.S. Senate Judiciary Committee. By the time of Johnson's withdrawal of the nomination, there would be only 1 month left until the election, and Richard M. Nixon would choose Warren Burger as Earl Warren's successor. So Earl Warren probably thought, I shouldn't have retired. I should have just stayed another... So this kind of politics stuff with the Supreme Court has been going on forever.
Yeah.
People are trying to, who's going to die? Should I retire now or should I?
That's got to be immense pressure on those people. Like,
Well,
what
yeah,
if you're
like
Ruth
Bader
Bader
Ginsburg has to live forever. Like
She's
she
like-
can't die. She's like 900 and we're living through a pandemic and she's in the hospital right now.
Right. And
they're already picking, like Mitch McConnell's like chomping
I
at
know.
the bit. He can't wait.
Yeah. It's so sad. It's so scary.
And both sides do it, like both sides do it.
Yeah,
and
but
it's
don't get me started.
I know. I'm not going to get you started. I'm not going to start a political argument here. But I agree that it's stupid on both sides. Like, I think it's like, even if who's running against Trump, Joe Biden or, Sleepy Joe or whatever, Sexy Joe, Rapey Joe, whatever he is.
Now stop with that too.
I'm just saying.
That's not helpful.
Well, there was an accusation. We have to believe the women. Even if he becomes president, and then, all the older ones that are liberal, they're like, okay, we're going to just retire so you can name somebody. Unless they want to retire. I mean, it just seems like they shouldn't be on either side. They should find people that aren't
right.
either one.
Right.
I don't know. I think all the politicians should be.
Everybody's got
gone.
Ideology.
I know, but they got to find a way to make them independent. An issue shouldn't be independent. You shouldn't be able to put 100 riders in every bill. Every bill shouldn't be, hey, we want to pass education reform. Okay, but also if you pass that, I want this gun law and that weird law and that abortion law in there too.
Well, I know.
So people,
Yeah.
it's all just, it's gotten ridiculous, I think. Maybe it's always been like that, though. I don't know. Why am I talking about this?
I don't know.
That same day, the first attempt to transplant the heart of a sheep into a human being failed.
Why would they pick a sheep? That's stupid.
Dr. Denton A. Cooley and a team of surgeons at St. Luke's Hospital in Houston worked unsuccessfully to keep a patient alive until a human donor could be found. Sam Willoughby, a life insurance agency manager from Waterloo, Iowa, agreed for the implantation of the heart of a 125-pound ram as a last resort after being resuscitated from cardiac arrest in the hospital, but he died before the operation could be completed.
Jesus.
Because on January 24th, 1964, a few years earlier, Dr. James Hardy had implanted the heart of a chimpanzee to a patient who had survived for 1 hour after the operation.
I remember
think we talked
that,
about
yeah.
So I think they thought, there's no donors. Do you want to die now, or do you want this ram heart? I guess I'll take the ram heart.
You would think anatomically that wouldn't even be an option.
I've never seen a ram heart.
Like, is this a stupid question? Do they do heart transplants? I know they have.
I don't think often.
But they have, though, right?
Yeah, there's a bunch of them. There's a bunch of them as I'm doing all this research. In the 68, specifically, they're doing them in Africa and everywhere else. And they call them, that's the weird thing that I keep finding on research. They're finding it a success, even if they live for an hour. Oh, successful.
Yeah, right.
That's not a success if they can't live for longer than an hour to me. But they're, so they have all this,
it's weird. I know that your heart is not like your brain.
Your heart is not like your brain,
but
correct.
To have a heart transplant still feels like you're taking a part of somebody's like identity. I don't know. I think it's because we put so much emotion in the heart. Like we always
You feel like the heart's more your identity than your brain?
No. but that there is some little bit of identity that goes with your heart.
Okay, there are about 2,000 heart transplants performed each year in the United States.
How many?
2,000.
Wow.
Approximately 85 to 90% of heart transplant patients are living 1 year after their surgery, with an annual death rate of approximately 4% thereafter.
Oh, okay.
A 3-year survival approaches 75%.
So it just gives them a few years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's got to feel weird.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I know they do them because there was that commercial, I think they put on the Super Bowl, where the parent's kid dies and they put the heart in a new guy, and the new guy wants to thank the parents, and the parents come and hug him and listen to his heart, their son's heart beat in somebody else's chest.
Oh, that's weird.
And it's like an emotion, like it's kind of sweet. And yeah, was it a commercial? I think it was a commercial for Wrangler jeans.
It probably
It probably was. I don't know. It was a commercial for Toyota. And then Saturday, June 22nd, 1968, Herb Alpert takes over the #1 spot with This Guy's in Love with You. Do you know that song?
I don't think.
No, I'm not going to tell you about it because we don't have time.
Okay.
And then Monday, June 24th, 1968, in the wake of recent assassinations of MLK and Senator Robert Kennedy. President LBJ asked Congress for a bill requiring the registration, and LBJ had his dick out while he did this.
Yes.
He asked Congress for a bill requiring the registration of every gun in the United States and the licensing of every individual entrusted to use one.
Yes.
Johnson's request was backed up by Attorney General Ramsey Clark and Senator Edward Kennedy, who testified before the Senate Judiciary Committee of the need for the bill a few days later. And that brings us to Tuesday, June 25th.
Yes.
Where you have something that happened.
I do. I'm going to talk about the Robison family murders. Also,
are you sure it's Robison and not Robison? Is it Robison?
Yes.
Because the Vikings had a defensive end named Brian Robison from Texas, and he's a big fisherman, and he goes by Robison. They call him
I don't know for sure. So
can we say Robison just to make me happy?
All right.
Okay, say Robison. That's fine.
Jesus
you win.
Christ.
You win this round.
All right. I got my information from swordandscale.com.
Swordandscale.com. That is an upstanding podcast.
Michigansotherside.com.
Michigansotherside.com. Is that a podcast?
No, it's a website.
Oh, it's a website. Is it about Michigan?
Yeah.
Oh.
And then Wikipedia.
And Wikipedia, as we know, just a disclaimer, Wikipedia can be edited by any Joe Schmo, so it might not be true. But a lot of our info comes from Wikipedia, so we say right up front, American Timelines might be all bullshit. We don't know. It's just what's on the internet, bro. Plus, we're probably living in a simulation.
All right,
so back to your story. Yes.
All right. So the summer of 1968.
Yeah, which we're into now. We're in summer because summer starts.
Richard Robison and wife Shirley from Detroit took their 4 children to their vacation cabin in scenic Goodhart, Michigan.
Now, I will tell you, sorry to interrupt, but I can relate to this because I'm from not far from Detroit, about 45 minutes, and we used to vacation in upper mid-Michigan.
Okay, and their place was right on Lake Michigan.
Oh, on Lake Michigan, so it's on the west.
So they planned to stay for the whole summer.
Okay.
Weeks into their vacation, however, all 6 people would be brutally murdered in the isolated spot by a gunman who was able to use the seclusion to slip away unseen.
Oh, that sucks.
They would lay dead for almost a month before being discovered.
What?
Leaving the police little evidence to work with.
They laid there for a month?
Yes.
Holy shit, we got to get into this now.
Over 50 years later, these murders are officially unsolved.
They're still unsolved.
One man has always been the prime suspect in the case.
Ooh.
A man who would die by suicide when he felt the police closing in and taking the truth with him.
Oh, this guy did it. I already think it.
So the gruesome murder scene inside a beautiful handcrafted cabin in Goodhart was only discovered when a neighbor complained to caretaker Chauncey Bliss that there was a horrible odor coming from the cabin.
Oh, Chauncey Bliss. Goodhart is the name of the town?
Yes.
Now that just sounds safe.
Right.
Like I would go to Goodhart right now.
Yep. Chauncey had built the cabins, the caretaker guy.
Okay. Chauncey Bliss,
hand,
motherfucker.
and he went to investigate the smell.
Wait, he built them by hand?
Mm-hmm.
Chauncey Bliss is a useful motherfucker.
So he is.
So he investigated the smell. This is on June 25th?
Yes.
Wait, he's investigating the smell of dead bodies the same day that Bobby Bonds made his Major League Baseball debut and hit a grand slam in his first game, becoming only the second Major League player after Bill Dugglesby in 1898 to do so. Bill Dugglesby in 1898. We're going to get that when we get that year.
All right. Can you shut up?
Yeah, that same day?
Yes.
Sorry.
Okay. So
you don't want to know more about that game?
As he went to investigate, he expected to find maybe like a dead raccoon or something. But no one had seen the Robisons for weeks, but the family members had told acquaintances that they were going out of town on vacation, so no one suspected anything.
No one was expecting anything. And in 1968, you could vacation all summer.
Bliss knocked on the front door but got no response, so he entered the house.
Oh, and the smell must have been terrible.
Immediately, he found a woman's body sprawled in the entryway, her clothes in disarray.
Wouldn't you be barfing immediately? I'd be barfing.
Behind her...
I would barf.
Behind her, Bliss could see other bodies crowding the floor in pools of their own blood.
Oh, God, so much barf.
Yeah.
Oh, I would just run away crying and barfing, and I would never go back, and I would never talk to anybody again. I'd move.
Yeah. So
I wouldn't tell anybody.
He called the police, though, so that's probably a good
that's
thing.
That's better than barfing
what you would
and crying
do.
And leaving.
Yeah. So the investigation revealed that the cabin contained the bodies of 6 people, all of the Robison family, from 42-year-old father Richard to 7-year-old daughter Susan.
Oh, you shouldn't kill children. You shouldn't.
No.
I'm against that.
Due to the condition of the bodies, which were bloated and covered with flies, pathologists estimated the family was murdered on June 25th, 1968. The condition of the bodies also prevented a full assessment of their injuries and made checking for evidence of sexual assault or any other forensic evidence difficult. Also, 1968 was years before many advancements in forensics would be developed.
Sure, they can't do shit because they don't know anything. Oh, we don't know anything. It's the 60s.
So
we're idiots. We can't fly to the moon. Oh, wait, they can fly to the moon.
Evidence suggests that the murders began with 5 gunshots aimed at Richard Robison, fired through a rear window from a .22 caliber semi-automatic rifle.
A rear window, like the back of the house.
The murderer then entered the cottage through an unlocked door and killed the remaining 5 people with shots to the head from a .25 caliber semi-automatic pistol.
And we don't have a motive or anything here?
So that's a second gun.
Okay.
Susan and Richard
2
Robison
guns.
were also bludgeoned with a hammer found at the murder scene.
Whoa, yo, you don't have to bludgeon people.
Yeah. Shirley Robison's body was intentionally posed so that when the crime scene was discovered, it would lead the police to think the crime was part of a sexual attack. But
it wasn't.
No.
It was posed that way?
Yeah.
Huh.
Bloody footprints and that's not uncommon.
Wait, what's not uncommon?
To pose a body so to try to throw police off so that they think it was a sexual attack.
Why would you want them to think it's a sexual attack?
Because it throws the MO off. If you don't want them to find you, if you're not somebody, they're going to be looking for some pervert rapist. They won't be able to find you.
If you're not a pervert rapist, you want them to think it's a pervert rapist,
right?
But why? I guess why would they be like, well, no, that guy's not a pervert rapist. He's probably a murderer. But
what if it was like somebody's like
a woman?
Daughter or something? Yeah, a woman.
Yeah,
or somebody.
Women are never murderers. It seems like.
Well, not very often. Anyway,
all these ones are men. And why is it so gross? Why are dead bodies so gross?
I know.
Is it just because we don't see it often? Like, do you think we're just?
It's
jarring because we're not used
biologically we're supposed to be repelled by.
You think
that? Yes, that's why it smells bad. That's why it.
You think?
Yeah.
But
otherwise we would be trying to eat it or something gross. It's like a primal thing.
You think?
Yeah, because
science-wise.
Yeah.
Because like other animals don't give a shit. Do they?
Only vultures. Other animals, if you have like roadkill that's been sitting there for a while, the only thing that's going to eat that are like the vultures and the
but I
worms
mean like,
and stuff.
but they're not affected. Like, if our dog saw a dead dog, do you think he would like freak out? Like, gross, barf. They just like, what? Sniff it and walk away, right?
I don't know.
I don't know. Sorry. I got to follow.
Jeez.
Whoa.
Okay. So there was also bloody footprints on the floor that led investigators to conclude that one person committed the crimes.
Oh, wait. Say that again.
I don't know what you were saying.
I was mad. I was upset. You hurt my feelings, is all I'm saying.
Bloody footprints on the floor led investigators to conclude that one person committed the murders.
Okay. You're funny.
The bodies were not discovered for 27 days, and conditions at the murder scene resulted in advanced decomposition of the bodies, which I already said.
Yeah.
At first, police were at a
saying that.
loss. Richard Robison was an upstanding citizen, an advertising executive who owned a magazine called Impresario, and who was doing very well for himself and his family.
Yeah.
His wife, Shirley, was a homemaker. Their children enjoyed a stable and loving home with their summers often spent in the beautiful area of Good Heart at the family's cabin.
So they've gone up there several times.
Yeah.
They own the cabin.
Yes.
So, I'm sure you're going to tell me, but this murderer probably already knows them.
Well, for police, the first task was to investigate any reason why the Robison family may have been targeted and whether anyone associated with them may have had a reason to want the family dead.
Right, that's what we got to find out. I'm with them on this.
So
I agree.
Richard Robison was at first glance simply a wealthy father and a husband. However, police soon discovered rumors of underhanded dealings with his advertising business, as well as liaisons with secretaries at different times in the past.
Oh, he's cheating. He's a cheetah.
Whoever did this was capable of personal one-to-one violence. Police soon came up with a lead.
Oh, that's why you said woman if it was a woman.
While,
this is a woman.
No. While he was in Good Heart, Robison had left the company in the hands of 30-year-old Joseph Scalaro, an employee
Oh, you can't leave it with him.
who was embezzling money from Robison and who had so far embezzled around $60,000.
Oh, Joseph Scalaro, that guy's a piece of garbage. You can't leave him in charge.
Police theorized that during a phone call between Robison and Scalaro, Robison had revealed that he had discovered the missing money. Scalaro panicked and drove from Detroit to Good Heart to prevent Robison from revealing to police the embezzlement crimes.
Oh, that's the
motive.
Yeah, that's the motive right there. That's it.
Circumstantial evidence seemed to support this conclusion. Scalaro had been out of contact with friends, business associates, and family for 12 hours on the day of the murder.
Really?
And police couldn't find anyone to corroborate as allies for that day.
He fucking did it.
Evidence also found multiple phone calls between Robison and Scalaro on the morning of the murders.
Oh, yes.
Their theory was that between the time of the last phone call between the two, Scalaro had enough time to drive from Detroit to Good Heart and carry out the murders.
Yep.
According to Marty Link, who wrote the book When Evil Came to Good Heart.
Ooh, Marty Link wrote a book about this? Mm-hmm. Marty Link's a kick-ass name, too. Marty Link and Chauncey Bliss, they should start a rap group.
Okay. Scalaro said he was at a plumbing convention and spoke with a number of clients that day. However, no one remembers seeing him or could provide statements backing up his claims.
Plus, there was never any such thing as a plumbing convention.
That's true. He also failed 2 lie detector tests, and a third test came up inconclusive.
And that still, that doesn't do anything for me.
Yeah, I know. At the murder scene...
Because you've told me that's bullshit, right?
Yeah, right.
But it's got to have some truth sometimes or not? There's just never.
I don't know.
All right, anyway.
At the murder scene, police found shell casings and a bloody footprint that they were sure had been left by the killer. A pair of brand new shoes were found in Joe Scalaro's possession, which matched the shoe print left at the scene. However, the shoes were new and had never been worn, so police couldn't prove that Joe Scalaro who had been at the cabin at the time of the murders.
Can you prove a shoe's never been worn?
Yeah, I know.
Like, at one time, I wore a pair of shoes. I got a pair of shoes, and they were slightly too small. Mm-hmm. But I put them on anyway, and I thought, I'll just break them in. I'll wear them. And I wore them to work all day.
Yeah.
And then I realized by the end of the day, I was like, fuck, these are way too fucking small.
You took them back?
Hurt. And so I wore them a whole day.
Yeah.
I walked around a lot that day. Mm-hmm. And then put them in a box and sent them back. And they accepted. I got my money back.
Well, that's pretty good.
So then I got bigger ones.
Oh, well
so,
there you go.
And I felt nervous. Like I didn't sleep for weeks. Like, what if they know I wore those all day? So I was like, can you prove that somebody wore those or not? Or did I just tried them on and my feet just happened to be really, really sweaty and I stomped on them a lot or something.
Something. All right, anyway.
Sorry. I don't know. I just feel like I committed fraud and I just want to come clean. So I think I owe the Puma company some money. And Puma's not going to survive.
I think they're going to be fine.
All right. And scene.
Scalaro also owned a gun that was similar to the one police believed had been used in the murders, but it was not an exact match. However, they went out and checked the shooting range used by Scalaro, who was a former military shooter, and the shell casings they found there did match those at the crime scene.
Oh, there you go. Boom. Connected to the dots.
They still didn't have enough solid evidence to link Joe Scalaro to the murders.
So that seems like a lot of evidence to me.
So police had no murder weapon, no witnesses, and only theories about motive.
Oh, those aren't theories. Those are solid fucking theories, bro.
Yeah.
I think. Don't you think?
Well, they couldn't. For 5 years, they couldn't press charges against him. They couldn't bring charges.
Because they didn't have enough?
Yeah. Detectives didn't give up, though, and police from both counties, the one where the Robisons lived and the one where the crimes took place,
you know what those counties are?
Together to bring the case to a close. I do, but I didn't add it in here because it's, who cares?
Well, I'm familiar with the area, so
I don't remember.
That's
what it was.
What's the town of Michigan? I'm not gonna look up the counties. I just want to know what Goodhart. I just want to see where it is on a map.
In 1973, police were finally ready to charge Scalaro with conspiracy to commit murder. However, before authorities could apprehend him, on March 8th, 1973, they were to...
March 8th, 1973, the same day that the Whiskey A Go-Go fire in Fortitude Valley, Brisbane, Australia, resulted in 15 deaths. The fire was caused by two 23-liter drums of diesel fuel being thrown into the building's foyer and set alight. Also the same day that on the Waltons, John Boy refuses to take friendship with a neighbor's sheltered daughter to the next level. John Boy doesn't want to bang. Okay. That same day?
Yes.
It's up there.
Authorities were called to his office block and found him dead of a self-inflicted gunshot wound. Scalaro left behind a typewritten note on which he wrote, "I am a liar, a cheat, a phony," with a list of people he had swindled in multiple business schemes. He then added a handwritten note to his mother on the same sheet of paper saying, "I had nothing to do with the Robisons. I'm a liar, but not a murderer. I'm sick and scared. God and everyone, please forgive me."
Oh. I wonder why...
Critics of the case say there's no way that Joe Scalaro could have driven from Detroit to Goodhart, killed the family, and returned to Detroit in the amount of time in which he didn't have an alibi. In the years since the murders, there have been other suspects looked at. One was caretaker Chauncey Bliss.
Chauncey Bliss did not do this.
Who found the bodies. Yes, he knew they were at the cabin all summer, and since he had built the cabin, he knew the surrounding area well. There was a problem establishing motive for him, however. He had lost his son in a motorcycle accident very recently before the murders, and the theory states that he was angry with Richard over how he responded to his son's death. But police never officially considered Bliss a suspect because it's pretty far-fetched. Other people suspect John Norman Collins, a man believed to be responsible for a series of murders between 1967 and 1969 in southeast Michigan.
Really?
He was convicted in 1970 of killing a female student in Ypsilanti and attended Eastern Michigan University at the same time Richie Robison did.
Really? So he might have known him.
Yeah, his victims were all teenage girls who were abducted, beaten, raped, and murdered, however.
Well, he had those daughters.
It is possible that he knew Richie, but no motive has ever been put forward for Collins to carry out these murders, and they also did not fit his M.O.
Well, what if he was like trying to get the girl? Because what really strikes me is that the girls were murdered with a different weapon.
No, the dad and the youngest girl were bludgeoned as well as shot.
Oh, it was the youngest girl and the dad, but the older daughter was just shot?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Never mind.
In some cold cases, new information does come to light without forensic evidence, like new witness testimony, which can reignite a case. For others, however, the case file remains untouched as years and years pass without any new clues. In the case of the Robison murders, while many believe the killer had been identified, justice for the family remains elusive, and whoever it was that took those 6 lives has gotten away with murder.
Yeah, so it's just off a little bit off I-75. It's like almost by the UP. That's way up there.
Oh, wow.
It's only 2 hours from West Branch, where Clear Lake is, where we've been to. So, but it's way up there. But I bet it's beautiful. You know how it is at Clear Lake. It's just beautiful. Yeah. Like,
oops.
Whoa.
Sorry.
Take that back. That was good. I was excited about that.
Good.
That was riveting. And I'm not sure.
And it was rape free.
It was rape. Well, yeah, it was rape free.
It was rape free. I mean, there's
no rapes.
The posing of the body, which is unfortunate. But other than that.
But, well, there was the whole thing about John Boy not wanting to take the neighbor shelter daughter the next level.
That's true.
But, yeah, I don't know. I was convinced that he did it until his suicide note said he didn't.
But then after he said he didn't, he said he was sick and scared, and I don't know.
Yeah, maybe he just didn't want to hurt his mother, or whatever it is. Well, that brings us to June 28th, Friday.
Mm-hmm.
And I put this thing in here just because I never knew this was a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever heard of the Uniform Monday Holiday Act?
No.
The Uniform Monday Holiday Act was signed into law by U.S. President Johnson, creating the pattern for most American national holidays to fall on Mondays and providing a 3-day weekend.
Oh.
Washington's birthday had always been on February 22nd, Memorial Day on May 30th, Columbus Day on October 12th, and Veterans Day on November 11th. Starting in 1971, Washington's birthday would be on the third Monday in February, Memorial Day on the last Monday in May, Columbus Day on the second Monday in October, and all that. So they passed a law making them on That's why they're always on Mondays.
That's good. That was smart.
Yeah, it's good. I like it.
Although Veterans Day is still on a wacky day. It's like on a Tuesday or something, I think.
Oh.
I'm pretty sure that's the one that's like sometimes in the middle of the week.
Oh. No, they moved it to Monday, but it in 1978 they moved it back to November 11th for some reason. Somebody reason to stink probably.
Yeah.
And that same day, a passenger on board a chartered Douglas DC-3 airliner fell 8,000 feet to his death when the rear door opened and he was pulled out.
Oh, my God.
Gerald Potter.
How did that happen?
Listen to this. This is the worst thing that could ever happen.
God.
And this is like a nightmare scenario. You're going to have nightmares. Gerald Potter of Pontiac, Illinois, was one of 23 passengers who were en route to the annual Lions Club International Convention in Dallas. I don't know why I'm laughing about this.
Yeah.
After boarding at Kankakee, Illinois on the DC-3 operated by the now defunct Purdue Airlines. Potter had told friends that he was going to the lavatory at the back of the plane.
Oh, my God.
The pilot told reporters that Potter might have mistaken the airplane's rear exit for the door to the bathroom.
Oh, my God.
At the time, the plane's position was over Phelps County, Missouri, about 10 miles northwest of Rolla, whatever that is.
Rolla.
Potter's body, which fell somewhere in the Ozark Mountains, would still be missing 50 years later.
Oh, my God.
He just had to take a shit.
So he opened the door and
he was like, "Oh, where's the bathroom?"
Getting ready to walk in. Oh, my God.
Oh, man, I really got to. Maybe he was like, "I really got to shit." Boom, gone forever.
Did it suck everybody else out?
I have no idea. They had to have, like...
Because doesn't the cabin pressure...
Oh, it had to be crazy. I don't know how they shut it and everything. I didn't look up much after that. I just was picturing this poor guy having to shit.
God.
So if he had to shit...
I didn't even know that happened.
I mean, may have had to pee. Well, it was 1968. And they never found him. They never found his body or anything.
Oh, my God. What in the world?
Poor Gerald Potter.
The Ozark Mountains, too.
Poor Gerald Potter. And he was going to a Lions Club.
Oh, my God. That's such a nightmare.
Poor Gerald Potter. That's the worst thing that could...
It's one of the worst things that could happen to you. Yep.
Yeah. You have to go to the bathroom and you...
step out of a plane without a parachute and fall to your death.
While you have to shit.
Yeah.
I bet he shit right then and there.
Oh, yeah. All right. Is that it?
How quick do you die, do you think? Like, do you die instantly, like from a heart attack and panic?
I don't know.
Do you suffocate? Like, what happens? That's why we need to get experts on this show, on this podcast.
You know, there's probably stuff you should know about it.
About falling out of a plane?
About
we should get those guys.
If you die, do you die, like they always say, you'll die of a heart attack before you hit the ground?
I'll ask Neil deGrasse Tyson next time he comes to our theater. He always knows everything. And then June 29th, the next day, 1968, Southeast Airlines Flight 101, a Douglas DC-3 flight from Marathon, Florida to Key West, was hijacked to Cuba shortly after takeoff.
Oh, man.
By one of its 15 passengers, an individual had bought a ticket under the name E.H. Carter. Although there had been previous instances of airplane flights being forced to land in Havana, the Southeast hijacking would attract copycat crimes throughout the month of July and the rest of 68 and 69. The pilot, the stewardess, and the 14 remaining passengers were returned to the United States, but co-pilot George Prelezzo, who had become a naturalized American citizen, after fleeing the Castro government in 1960, was arrested and charged with desertion and for stealing a Cuban cargo plane to make his escape. Perlezzo would be released 3 weeks later, so maybe he was innocent.
Yeah. There was a lot of hijackings in the 60s and 70s.
Oh, in the 60s, there were so much. There's a lot of these. What marvels me is just that. Think about this. Imagine the security at airports in the 60s.
There wasn't any.
There was none.
No.
Like, you didn't even have to show ID. You're just like, I'd like a ticket, please.
Yeah.
Like it's like a bus. Like you're buying a ticket to a. So I'm
walk up with your cigarette in your hand.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Really. I'm watching all these old movies.
Yeah.
And anytime anybody flies, it's like, really? That's it? Just
That's
whoever that guy is, just give him a ticket.
That's right.
This guy just bought a ticket under E.H. Carter. I have no idea what his name is.
Yeah.
You could easily just be anybody.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's crazy. Anyway, I think we probably should wrap it up. We both had a long thing now. Yep. It was only 1 month. I was hoping to get June and July done. I spent all day doing July. And July's quick, but...
No, we gotta go. I gotta get to bed.
We gotta go. You're tired. It's Mother's Day, and you're the mother. You're such a mother that you get to end this podcast now. So I'll let you do the honors of ending this episode 111, 111, on Mother's Day of American Timelines.
Yes.
This is the first time we've ever had a podcast episode with 3 digits that are all the same digit.
Okay.
I think.
Well, thanks for listening. And rate, review, subscribe, all that shit.
That was dumb.
Shut up.
Sorry, I'm just kidding. No, it was very good. Say something cool. Give us some pizzazz. Give us some pizzazz.
I'm done. I'm just done. I'm done with you. I'm done with all of it.
Done with me? Are we breaking up?
We're
Is this a divorce?
We're taking a break.
We're taking a break like in Ozark?
Yes.
Do I need to go stay in a motel with an FBI agent?
No. You
Spoiler alert.
Yeah.
If you haven't seen Ozark.
All right. And it's time to get out of here, Chuck Berry.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to get you to say. I love you. Are we seeing other people now? Or
no.
Oh, okay. All right. We love you all. And sorry, ladies, we're not seeing other people yet. Sorry, ladies.
But stay tuned.
Wait a minute. I'm still off the market, ladies. Sorry. You ladies lose. And Amy wins. For now. Get out of here, Chuck Berry. And now, enjoy the dulcet tones of the Matt Truman Ego Trip. That's a guy who can have any woman he wants. But he's already got the best. Steph Truman. Yeah, that woman kicks ass. She can kill a guy in 7 seconds.
When you were all alone, no watchtower, kiss in the sky. Well, I was barely a glimmer in my young daddy's eye. I said that we're so tired of hearing about the 60s. One more time, I said we're so tired of hearing about the 60s. Well, make me shut my mouth now.
Alan asked you Alice versus Tempting Town. Now you're stealing coffee money for the president's ball.
We're so tired of hearing about the 60s.
American Timelines is a member of the Queen City Podcast Network, powered by Ortho Carolina. Find out more at queencitypodcastnetwork.com.
Talk about pork.